other day, a relatively new client who had the question, I have a couple of potential target audiences that I'd like to go after. One, he described, was very broad. I would say there were millions and millions of people who probably fit the bill. There were so many, I couldn't possibly fathom how anyone could have so much money to be able to speak to them all, or even a fraction of them all. But the second target audience that he talked about was somebody going through a particular life event. I said, okay, I'm encouraged by that one because it not only hones in on who you're going after, but your message then can be very tailored to that type of event that they're going through in their lives. I told him, listen, just because that is possibly the front-facing audience that people are going to see doesn't mean that you have to swear off the other entirely. There's a difference between niching yourself by business and niching yourself by brand. And in this case, niching yourself by brand means that one audience that takes the lead. Many times what people think when you niche yourself by brand is that not only are you saying I can't serve anybody else, but you think, what are people going to think if they are potential customers? They'll come to my website, my LinkedIn profile, where I'm talking all about this one group, and they'll never want to work with me. I think that's been pretty well overblown. I, many times, will talk about such audiences as family business owners or closely held small businesses. It doesn't mean necessarily that a large business can't work with me. So I made that point to him and said, what do you think about putting yourself out there more with that second audience that's very much about the event? And he said, that feels pretty good. Let's give it a shot. He wasn't saying anything in such a way that he was limiting himself, because one type of event meant that he could talk about that event at length. He could have a webinar that was about how to help people through that event, and he felt energized. At the same time, anybody outside of that category came through the door and said, I know you offer this, but do you also help people like me? That is the scenario happening. I really like what you wrote. I like that video that you did. I like that paper you put out there. By the way, do you ever work with folks like me? Open yourself up to that. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And if you'd like to have the kind of conversation that I had with this client, then let's talk about it. See where things go. And if we can't narrow down not only niching your business, but niching your brand. You can't have a best of both worlds here, contrary to what anybody says. It's a different way of looking at niching, and I think it's a way that's going to make you comfortable.